The Mary Gloster by Rudyard Kipling. I've paid for your sickest fancies, I've humored your crackedest whimdick. It's your daddy dying, you've got to listen to him. Good for a fortnight, am I? The doctor told you he lied. I shall go under by morning, and put that nurse outside. Never seen death yet, Dickie. Well, now is your time to learn, and y'all wish you held my record before it comes to your turn. Not counting the line, and the foundry, the yards, and the village too. I've made myself and a million, but I am damned if I made you. Master at 22, and married at 23, 10,000 men on the payroll and 40 freighters at sea. 50 years between and every year of it fight, and now I am Sir Anthony Gloster, dying a baronite, for I lunched with his Royal Ignis. What was it the papers ahad? Not least of our merchant princes. Dickie, that's me, your dad. I didn't begin with askings, I took my job, and I stuck, and I took the chances they wouldn't, and now they're calling it luck. Lord, what boats I've handled, rotten and leaky and old. Ran or opened the bilgecock precisely as I was told. Grub that bind you crazy, and cruise that turn you gray, and a big fat lump of insurance to cover the risk on the way. The others, they dursn't do it. They said they valued their life. They've served me since as skippers I went, and I took my wife. Over the world I drove, married at 23, and your mother saving the money and making a man of me. I was content to be master. But she said there was better behind. She took the chances I wouldn't, and I followed your mother blind. She egged me to borrow the money, and she helped me to clear the loan when we bought half shares in a cheap and hoisted a flag of our own. Patching and coaling on credit, and living, the Lord knew how we started the Red Ox freighters. We've 38 now. And those were the days of clippers, and the freights were clipper freights, and we knew we were making our fortune. But she died in Macassar Straits by the little Paternosters, as you come to the Union Bank, and we dropped her in 14 fathom. I pricked it off where she sank. Owners, we were full owners, and the boat was christened for her, and she died in the Mary Gloster. My heart, how young we were. So I went on a spree round Java, and well-nigh ran her ashore, but your mother came and warned me, and I wouldn't liquor no more. Strict I stuck to my business, afraid to stop or I'd think saving the money. She warned me, and letting the other men drink. And I met Cullough in London. Id turned 500 then, and 'tween us, we started the foundry, 3 forges, and 20 men. Cheap repairs for the cheap uns it paid, and the business grew, for I bought me a steam lathe patent, and that was a gold mine too. Cheaper to build than buy I said, but Cullough he shied, and we wasted a year in talking before we moved to the Clyde. And the lines were all beginning, and we all of us started fair, building our engines like houses, and staying the boilers square. But Cullough wanted cabins with marble and maple, and all in Brussels and Utrecht velvet and baths, and a social hall and pipes for closets all over, and cutting the frames too light. But Cullough he died in the 60s, and well, I am dying tonight. I knew what was coming when we bid on the Byfleet keel. They piddled and piffled with iron. Id given my orders for steel. Steel and the first expansions it paid. I tell you it paid when we came with our 9-knot freighters and collared the long-run trade. And they asked me how I did it, and I gave 'em the scripture text, you keep your light so shining a little in front o' the next. They copied all they could follow, but they couldn't copy my mind, and I left 'em sweating and stealing a year and a half behind. Then came the armor contracts, but that was Cullough's side. He was always best in the foundry, but better perhaps he died. I went through his private papers, the notes was plainer than print, and I'm no fool to finish if a man'll give me a hint. I remember his widow was angry, so I saw what the drawings meant, and I started the 6-inch rollers, and it paid me 60% with failures, and more than twice we could do, and $250,000 to credit, and I saved it all for you. I thought it doesn't matter, you seem to favor your ma, but you're nearer 40 than 30, and I know the kind you are. Heron Trinity College I ought to ha sent you to see, but I stood you in education, and what have you done for me? The things I knew was proper you wouldn't thank me to give, and the things I knew was rotten you said was the way to live. For you muddled with books and pictures and china and etchings and fans, and your rooms at college was beastly more like a whore's than a man's, till you married that thin-flanked woman as white, and as stale as a bone, and she gave you your social nonsense. But where's that kid o' your own? I've seen your carriages blocking the half o' the Cromwell Road, but never the doctor's brougham to help the missus unload. So there isn't even a grandchild in the Gloster families done not like your mother. She isn't. she carried her freight each run. But they died, the poor little beggars, at sea she had they died. Only you, and you stood it, you haven't stood much beside. Weak, a liar and idle, and mean as a collier's whelp, nosing for scraps in the galley. No help, my son was no help. So he gets 300,000 in trust, and the interest paid. I wouldn't give it you, Dickie, you see, I made it in trade. You're saved from soiling your fingers, and if you have no child, it all comes back to the business, gad. Want your wife be wild. Calls and calls in her carriage, her handkerchief up to eye, daddy dear, daddy's dyin', and doing her best to cry. Grateful, oh yes I am grateful, but keep her away from here. Your mother never ha stood and anyhow women are queer. There's women will say I've married a second time. Not quite, but give poor Aggie 100, and tell her your lawyer'll fight. She was the best, oh the boiling, y'all meet her before it ends, I'm in, for a row with the mother, ill leave you settle my friends, for a man, he must go with a woman, which women don't understand, or the sort that say they can see it, they aren't the marrying brand. But I wanted to speak, oh your mother, that's Lady Gloster, still I am going to up, and see her without it's hurting the will. Here, take your hand off the bell pull, 5,000's waiting for you, if y'all only listen a minute, and do as I bid you do. They'll try to prove me crazy, and if you bungle they can, and I've only you to trust to, oh God. Why ain't he a man? There's some waste money on marbles, the same as Cullough tried marbles and mausoleums. But I call that sinful pride. There's some ship bodies for burial we've carried soldered, and packed down in their wills, they wrote it, and nobody called them cracked. But me, I've too much money, and people might all my fault it come, oh hoping for grandsons, and buying that walk-in vault. I am sick, oh the old damn business, I am going back where I came. Dick, you're the son, oh my body, and y'all take charge, oh the same. I want to lie by your mother 10,000 mile away, and they'll want to send me to walking, and that's where y'all earn your pay. I've thought it out on the quiet, the same as it ought to be done, quiet and decent and proper, and here's your orders, my son. You know the line, you don't, though you write to the board, and tell your father's death has upset you, and you goin' to cruise for a spell, and you'd like the Mary Gloster, I've held her ready, for this they'll put her in working order, and y'all take her out as she is. Yes, it was money idle when I patched her, and put her aside, thank God I can pay for my fancies, the boat where your mother died by the little paternosters. As you come to the Union Bank, we dropped her, I think I told you, and I pricked it off where she sank tiny. She looked on the grating, that oily treacly C-118 east, remember, and south just 3. Easy bearings to carry 3 south 3 to the dot, but I gave Andrew a copy, in case of dying or not. And so y'all write to Andrew, he's chief of the Mary Line Thale, give him leave if you ask and say it's business o' mine. I built 3 boats for the Marys, and very well pleased they were, and I've known Mac since the 50s, and Mac knew me and her. After the first stroke warned me, I sent him the money to keep against the time you'd claim it committin' your dad to the deep, for you are the son o' my body, and Mac was my oldest friend. I've never asked to dinner, but he'll see it out to the end. Stiff-necked Glasgow beggar, I've heard he's prayed for my soul, but he couldn't lie if you paid him, and he'd starve before he stole. Hell take the Mary in ballast, y'all find her a lively ship, and y'all take Sir Anthony Gloster, that goes on his wedding trip lashed in our old deck cabin, with all 3 portholes wide, the kick o' the screw beneath him, and the round blue seas outside. Sir Anthony Gloster's carriage our Ousa flag, flyin' free, 10,000 men on the payroll, and 40 freighters at sea. He made himself and a million, but this world is a fleetin' show, and hell go to the wife of his bosom, the same as he ought to go by the heel of the paternosters. There isn't a chance to mistake, and Mac'll pay you the money as soon as the bubbles break. 5,000 for 6 weeks cruising the staunchest freighter afloat, and Mac hell give you your bonus the minute I am out o' the boat. Hell take you round to Macassar, and y'all come back alone. He knows what I want o' the Mary, ill do what I please with my own. Your mother call it wasteful, but I've 37 more ill come in my private carriage, and bid it wait at the door. For my son was never a credit, muddled with books and art, and lived on Sir Anthony's money, and broke Sir Anthony's heart. There isn't even a grandchild, and the Gloster family's done the only one you left me, oh mother, the only one. Hera and Trinity College me Slaven early and late, and he thinks I am dying crazy, and Ure in Macassar straight. Flesh o' my flesh, my dearie, for ever and ever, amen. That first stroke come for a warning, I ought to ha gone to you then, But cheap repairs for a cheap and the doctors said id do Mary. Why didn't you warn me I've a lose heeded to you except, I know about women. But you are a spirit now and wife they was only women, and I was a man that's how. And a man must go with a woman, as you could not understand. But I never talked secrets, I paid out hand. Thank God I can pay for my fancies now, what's 5,000 to me for a berth off the paternosters in the haven, where I would be I believe in the resurrection, if I read my Bible plain, but I wouldn't trust him at Wakin, we're safer at sea again. For the heart, it shall go with the treasure go down to the sea in ships. I am sick of the hired women, ill kiss my girl on her lips. Ill be content, with my fountain ill drink from my own well, and the wife of my youth shall charm me and the rest can go to hell. Dicky he will that's certain ill lie in our standard and McClull take her in ballast, and she trims best by the head. Down by the head and sinkin her fires are drawn and cold, and the waters splash in hollow on the skin of the empty hold, churning and choking and chuckling quiet and scummy, and dark, full to her lower hatches, and risen steady hark. That was the after bulkhead, she's flooded from stem to stern. Never seen death yet Dicky well now is your time to learn.